The meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lynch?
Here?
Euring?
Yes.
Kish? And Trustee Abraham is absent.
Yeah, and Denny let me know ahead of time he wouldn't be here, Chris.
I do have the Record Commission meeting minutes that I could go through. It was held on December 20th, 2022. The meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. by Neil Lynch. Roll call, Lynch and Kish were present. Motion to suspend reading of prior meeting minutes. One, chairperson and fiscal officer reviewed applications for one-time disposal of obsolete records and schedules of records retention and disposition submitted by township offices pursuant to ORC 149.42. Two, dispose of records pursuant to the procedure outlined in section ORC 149.381 of the revised code and updated to conform with UAM policy. Three, review any schedule previously approved by the Records Commission and for good cause shown. Revise that schedule under the procedure outlined in section 149.381, and the meeting adjourned at 7 p.m.
And I'll make a motion to approve the December 20th Records Commission meeting minutes.
Second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Chris,
Okay.
I just wanted to say with the 2022 end of year and 2023 org meeting, instead of reading through, well, everything says 1 of 5, but over 5 pages of minutes that we just accept as presented. David, I just want to make sure you had no changes or corrections.
From what was presented, I made 2 recommendations, which she put in. The first recommendation was on 12/9, on the payment of the bills. I recommended that she add, which includes ARPA fund expenditures as
Okay.
specified. And then the other correction that I found was on 12/34, on the policy manual. I added, policy manual amendments are effective 1/1/23 with the
Okay.
exception of the fee schedule in Appendix C. The fee schedule is effective 3/31/2023.
Okay.
And those clarification.
And Chris?
Whenever the revision for that policy manual is the date that it was accepted, the revision date for the policy manual would be based on
So 12/20/22, but the effective date of Appendix C fee schedule of 3/31/23 is correct. Yeah, I think the main thing David wanted to get in was the Appendix C, you know, being,
I
right.
had 2 notes that it was effective the first of the year, and then the fee schedule was for the 31st. So that's what I incorporated into the resolution. That's the notes that I had.
in front of me, so I
So when you put on the policy manual, is it going to show an effective date of 1/1/23 or 12/20/22? Could you do it on the date of the meeting it was accepted, which was 12/20/22? All right, then we'll change, okay.
And just change the date to immediately. Just change it. You want to change that then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
the
it.
fees we don't have to worry about. It's
Right.
the amendments are effective, what, immediately? You want that, not 1/1? I mean, we're talking 11 days.
Yeah, that'd work, David.
Make
And
it
that won't
immediate.
affect what you put on the,
Okay.
You want to put immediately?
Yes. Right.
All righty. One correction.
and I'm going to make a motion to accept the 2022 end of year and 2023 organizational meeting minutes as presented and corrected in motion number 123422.
I'll second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Okey-dokey. Then your financial reports. I have the payment listing included in your packet, pretty standard for the beginning of the month. And to date, year to date, our revenue is zero, and our expenditures are $22,604.53. Although I did just put in a deposit that is not recorded yet of $108,904.48. I'm sorry, $109,907.58, which includes the $108,904.48, which was our reimbursement for fourth quarter payroll.
108.
904.48.
904.48 reimbursement.
Is
Right.
that for ARPA?
Yes, that just has not gone into the bank as of, well, it's in the bank, it's not in the UAN.
Then our carryover was around 5.
Yep.
Well, it's only January 10th, so a revenue of zero, I guess, isn't too frightening yet. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve the financial reports and the payments of items on the payment listing, which include ARPA fund expenditures as specified in the documents provided by the fiscal officer.
I will second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
What's the number on that, Chris?
That is 1-3. 23. And the only other thing I have as far as the financials is I'd like to note that year-end 2022 is closed out, and all but one report is finalized and sent, and that will be at the end of the month to the IRS once I know everybody's happy with their W-2. And also the 2023 unencumbered balances have been sent to the tax settlement offices. We're ready to rock and roll.
Okay, was there anything else? there,
That's
Chris?
all I had.
All right, we have no audience members. Any correspondence, Chris?
I do have one item. I have we received from the Ohio Department of Transportation through the engineer's office, the 2022 Township Highway System millage certification. I guess we get this every year, so I need you to sign it. Will I have to wait for Denny to sign it before sending it back to the engineer?
It's, how many signatures is it asking for, David?
Acting for the trustees usually.
No, if you get two,
Okay.
you're okay.
Okay, so if I can just get that this evening, and then I
Yeah.
can send it back?
Yeah, we'll just leave a copy with
Yeah.
Denny's documentation.
Okay.
I'd like a copy of
That's
it
all,
just
only
for
thing that I
record.
got.
It's an important record.
Okay, David, did you have any correspondence?
I do have one piece. I have a letter from the prosecutor's office to the Board of Trustees. Dear Board, I would like to commend Amherst Township employees Linda Ashley and Georgianne Lynch for the excellent work they have done for the township, the prosecutor's office, and myself. Their efforts have been invaluable in addressing and advising upon so many different, difficult, and important issues and matters. I rely always upon their expertise and professionalism. I further wish to express my admiration and appreciation for each one's fine and consistent performance. It is great to work with such dedicated, hardworking, and competent public servants. Thomas Mangan, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Thanks, David.
I did want to bring that up. Salutations, Linda. Salutations, Georgie.
Thank you.
To frame that, you don't get too many good ones. And like I
I'm going to
said,
frame it.
one good one always outweighs 20 bad, because I know you hear more of the bad.
Yeah, we do. But
And we've got a few of those in here.
unfortunately, we've had to work quite closely with Tom for the last few months.
Yeah, well, and you might be continuing with that for a while. All right, any correspondence I have deals with an agenda item, so I put them in that order in here. Okay, we're going to move on to our reports. Zoning, Sam?
As you see, I didn't print anything because we just had one fence permit pulled so far this month. I think from now on, maybe I'll wait till the second meeting before I print
Okay.
anything out. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Save ink.
Yeah.
I don't think it would make sense to give a report for the month now. It would make sense if we give a report for last month.
Yeah, which I've already done, but yeah, maybe I'll start doing it that way.
That way.
So would it be better if I go the first meeting the month after? Would that be smarter?
It'll still work as long as,
Yeah.
the main thing is saying,
The trends and what's going on.
right, you're usually looking at the larger ones, so you're looking at new businesses and new homes.
Right.
How can you give a month total unless the month is finished?
Well, exactly. Okay, I'll start doing it that way.
It'd
So
probably be-
I'll start doing it that way. So first meeting after the month that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
I just thought.
Okay, and just so you're aware, David, also the BCA is having their 2023 organizational meeting at 7 o'clock this Thursday, January 12th, 2023. Obviously, I won't be there since I'll be at a LORCO meeting. And then also in your packet is a communication, which you've received a copy by email, from Bill Latrani for the chairperson of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I assume he'll probably be the chair in 2023 also. I don't expect to change, but that's up to the BZA. And essentially, he's had communication already with Tom Mangan. It's our zoning specifically indicates that a hearing date must be scheduled within 20 days of acceptance of an application from somebody for a variance or that's appealing the decision of the zoning inspector. Now, we can get all hung up into what acceptance of the application is by the BZA. Is it only accepted when they have a meeting, since it says the BZA, or is it when Sam hands something to the chair? When's that 20-day start? But Bill's concern always is trying to reach all 7 members, so the 5 full members and 2 alternates, get a date when they can meet. Since they aren't on a regular scheduled date, they only meet as needed. Once he gets all that feedback back, then let them know what it is, get the public hit notices out to the newspaper, and it's just making it too difficult. And I printed the applicable sections of the ORC, and you will see, if you read through that, there's no, and I didn't print them all here, by the way, but there is no 20 days mentioned in the revised code. Now, Bill talks about 30 days in some discussion with the prosecutor, but I couldn't even find that in the BZA section, David. So just what he says makes sense. I've spoken to you earlier. If you can actually work with the prosecutor's office in producing everything we need to do a zoning amendment for the time frame of doing a hearing. Now, we don't want to get crazy and extending it out, but we don't want to get caught where there's the 20 days is just so difficult to do. But if you can also see it all the way through, get the information from the prosecutor with their recommendation, put together eventually the resolution for the zoning amendment, then you know what it's going to be once assuming I'm sure the trustees are going to approve it. Once you get it forward, make the motion for the amendment, but put together everything you need in the public notice and the papers, and then if you could conduct that hearing, David, since you're in charge of zoning. And also I'll ask that when you get to the point of needing to type up the information, so this isn't a rush thing that you have to race through, but Georgianne can get everything typed up since she has the original Word documents. And I'd also like to catch, as we go through different hearings, or researching things, we find just minor errors in the zoning resolution. I'd like to catch all those. You're usually talking about grammar and spelling errors or just, minor little mistakes or omissions of words. If we can catch all those as part of this also, so you'll have to delineate those out. So for everyone, and we'll have to ask between the zoning commission, the BZA, Sam, I don't know if you have any markups in your book.
I do.
If we can catch all those at once,
Okay.
then we don't have to pay for additional public hearings, so they can all be discussed, but we can get it all done at one time.
Okay.
With this. So if you just take this document, David, but you know what you got to do to run with this, okay?
Yeah,
And this-
Tom did mention, and he probably said the ordinance, but it was 30 days is what he preferred, and he thought it should be.
Yeah, it says it here in this 519.14, toward the bottom on page 1. It says within 30 days of the mailing of the notice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences up
Let
from
me
the
get
bottom.
there.
The mailing or the
The
receipt?
very last paragraph,
On 519 point,
14,
okay,
page 1,
all right.
down the bottom paragraph, 1, 2, 3, the fourth sentence down. Holders right to a hearing before the board within 30 days of the mailing of the notice. And that's what, when we've spoken to Tom, that's what he refers to as the ORC says 30 days.
Well, that 30 days is only for revoking an authorized variance or conditional zoning certificate. So, reading anything as far as the first time, and it's either someone asking for a use or area variance or appealing a decision by Sam, is where the question is. I could not find anything,
Okay.
so I'm not sure. This may have been what Tom might have used this as well. Since that says 30 days, let's stick with 30 days.
Yeah, that might be a good question.
But I didn't
for
see
Tom.
where it specifies a time. And as I said, you still get into that acceptance by the BZA. What's that mean? So does it have to be the whole board? Is it the chair?
Yeah, good question.
It's not, to me, it's not technically Sam, he's the zoning inspector. But the ORC says the BZA. So it's, that's where you start getting, looking at the real detail here. But David, if you can work with the prosecutor's office and, just get this moving along. Benches not here. Okay, roads, parks, and cemetery, Superintendent Marsh.
I don't really have anything to report on. The beginning of the year here has been starting off pretty quiet. We've been staying busy, and we're holding our own. Had a couple small issues with the snowstorm for ending up the end of last year, but got through them. Got through the snowstorm pretty nicely. I don't think there was too many complaints, if any. And, like I said, starting off the year quiet, doing our thing.
Okay. Well, there's really a couple of items here, and Chris, this is probably more for you. Keep in mind, assuming everything goes right, and it's been now, this will be the second year, we're going to be on the hook for some amount of money for the Middle Ridge Road project for the township's portion that will be managed by the city of Amherst. And when we had looked at that, we knew, that will work for us in timing because we were doing Dewey Road. Now we'll do Middle Ridge for this year. And then we're hoping to also have Oberlin Road, and we've got the funding put aside, but from 2 years ago to now, I don't know what type of bids Amherst is going to receive for that project. And I'm looking here to see if it gives our original, let's see, it references our percentage. Let's see, this was Dewey Road. I'm looking for the one with Amherst. Yeah, we'd have to go back because it was resolution number 81021. So that was still in around 36, but I don't have the numeric values here for what that is. But I don't know if I'd want to trust those the way, you know, material costs, and particularly something that's petroleum-based, have changed. So, and I did send an email, it's been some time now, to the mayor, just letting them know, because we had the same thing, remember, on Dewey Road. It wasn't significant, fortunately. We got some good bids, but it was slightly higher, you know, and that's where the engineer then had sent through an addendum just so we didn't have to reject all bids prior to the bids going out, because they could see it in their road projects. They were coming in, the bids significantly higher than their original estimates. So they basically adjusted it just so we'd be able to accept the bid. So this one here being 2 years away, you know, their original estimate could even be more difficult. So we'll just have to wait and see. The second item is we just received, we actually received an email on on Thursday, January 5th, and it just came in the mail today from the county engineer's office, basically saying the same thing, trying to gauge the township's interest to partner with the county to get an overall bid for chip and sealing of roads. So I don't know, Kevin, I sent you this information as far as what we've done in the past, if you have any comments here on chip and seal.
Well, our current chip and seal roads are in good shape. But I was wanting to bounce off you guys, see what you might think of it, is chip and sealing Broadway, Taylor, and Tenney. I have some small base repair that I could do and a little bit of asphalt work to do around some of the manhole covers, especially on Taylor, but the roads are still in good shape in the sense to where they could be saved and prolonged, the life be prolonged for quite some time. We get the top sealed off. I think that it would be a good idea.
What do we have down there now?
It's asphalt.
Yeah, the way we receive that asphalt, normally, typically we wouldn't, David,
that
but it was
sewer
done as
project.
part of, exactly, it was part of the sanitary sewer project. And so we had worked between the county and OPWC, and they could wrap that together. And the agreement with the residents was they had to accept there was a whole year, you know, after the sewer project was done, with all those road cuts, it was going to be a mess. You know, they come down and we'd refill it with some stone and coal patch for a while, but we knew it was always going to get torn up. And fortunately, then we did get the grant money with the help, and it was actually with the county engineer to get that paved. So, but typically, you know, we are not going to get awarded grant funds for those roads. So I think doing the chip and seal, preserve it, and give a good surface for the residents is probably better, and that's more within our budget. So do you have any objection? I mean, all we'll be doing right now is getting an estimate. You can still back out if you think it's too
We
high.
can get an estimate for chip and sealing. Wish we could keep it asphalt. We could get a estimate for chip and sealing and get an estimate for asphalt too, and see what that would be.
You can ask him. I don't know, Sean might get upset, but you could ask him.
Well, he'll have the measurements, so it probably wouldn't be too much.
Okay.
I'll definitely get the estimate right now for the chip and seal so we can get at least on board for now with this. And I'm going to throw it at the same time to him to see if he can throw me the estimate
Just
for...
so you can see the difference.
Correct.
Okay. Well, you know what you got to do there then, so that's I mean, when you really think about the traffic there, it's no different than Tina Lane, which we chip and seal today, and, you know, we chip and seal Bechtel.
You know, Bechtel Road is not heavily traveled, but it is quickly traveled.
Right, and that's the thing, the speed there, right?
And it, you know, from when it was chip and sealed from 2010, which was might have been a problem in the beginning with complaints, but it was a good job, and it's held up. There's a good base there. And then after we did it, 2 years ago?
2019.
Yes, 3 years. It's in good shape. It's good.
We're talking in excess of 5 years, we're talking close to almost 10 years out of a chip and seal.
There was a chip and seal in 2010,
Yeah,
and then there was another chip and seal when we got hooked up with the county in 2019.
on Bechtel's,
Yes.
over 9 years.
Which is pretty good for chip and seal.
Usually, or used to be years ago, they chipped and sealed every year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what you've got to do. Are you going to contact, you're going to work with the county and let them know the interest, and just, hopefully, since you'll measure it up, Sean will give you the estimates both ways then, so that we've got a comparison.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else there, David, on the roads?
At this time, no.
All right. Move on to Township Administrator, Linda Ashley.
I just wanted to bring to your attention that we have a thank you card that was sitting on the table there, and it's from the coordinator for Wreaths Around America, or Wreaths Across America, Catherine Kennedy, just thanking the township for working with her during the first year, and she's very appreciative, and she names a few people that gave donations, so if you want to look at that. And that being said, the Wreaths Across America was supposed to take place on December 17th, but there were a lot of logistical detours, and the wreaths did not get delivered until the 17th, so they postponed the ceremony till the 18th. That being said, I know Catherine was very disappointed with the communication and trying to get these wreaths. Apparently, they had sent some to California and Florida in the hot months ago, and they sent them to the cold areas late and with the snowstorm, and it was just a mess. So I believe that there's a group of veterans. John Secletar is one of them. The gentleman that runs Flowerama is the second one, that are looking into having their own group established that will take care of basically the same thing, putting wreaths on the veterans' graves within Lorraine County. So that may be something that's going to come up that I will inform you of maybe in a few months when they get everything kind of organized. So I'm on board with going with the group in Lorraine County versus the Wreaths Across America. I went out to Kindig personally on Saturday morning, and I had 13 cars of people out there for the ceremony because there was no way to contact who was coming.
Right.
So I had to explain it to them, and there were little Boy Scouts and some Girl Scouts, and they were very disappointed, and I understand, and I apologized, and, you know, it was beyond our control, but I think it could be better organized maybe if we kept it locally. But I'll keep you guys updated on that.
Yeah, for full volunteer, I know when she first brought it up, I thought, boy, she's biting off a
She
real
did bite
big
off.
project.
Yeah.
And then when she spoke before Lorraine County Township Association, and that expanded more cemeteries,
Yeah, and she stayed up till, she said 2:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, waiting for the truck, and they never showed up. So she was a little disappointed too, more aggravated, I guess,
yeah,
also. So there is a potential that we would be doing the same thing next year, just under a different organization.
okay.
But like I said, I'll keep you updated. Other than that, you know, just the standard office work, phone calls, people coming in, whatever, just day-to-day work.
Okay, and then just for an update, the NOPEC Community Event Sponsorship Grant, the $1,500, you've already gotten everything
Yep.
set for that.
Yep.
You know, and So David, this will be, since it's got to be open to all our residents, no charge, this is going to be with our recycling, okay, and dumpster days.
The NOPEC grant?
The NOPEC, right, this is a NOPEC Community Event Sponsorship Program. So Linda went through to get our profile entered, show the interest. If you recall, I had presented this at a previous meeting, sent the emails. You've got a copy of that information in your packet also, but she's got everything set up. I received in the past, based on the annual meeting, I was surprised that they indicated they were going to continue with the Energized Community Grants, but when I've looked on their website, haven't seen any updates in that regard, and it indicated before, which would actually be a couple months early, that we'd have to have things completed by April. Well, we don't have any information yet as the details nor on the amounts. And if you look historically, the amount of the grant is based on the amount of NOPEC gas and electric customers. Well, their competitors have been marketing real heavily with phone calls and even going door to door to get people to change over. So the amount we receive has been steadily dropping. Back in 2020, it was $16,202, and in 2022, it was down to $12,010. So though we're growing a number of units, we're decreasing a number of NOPEC customers as people opt out to take where they offer them a $50, debit card that they can use. There's all sorts of different incentives. I mean, I'm sure everybody here has received the phone calls. And you're okay if you want to play the game, because you can play it and get some benefit out of that and watch, because the competitor will temporarily reduce what they charge you. But you got to make sure you know when that sunsets so that you call them, because, I always compare this to the boiling the frog. They then increase the rates, and just like insurances, if people aren't paying attention, usually until they hit that, either for the electric's going to be in the summertime when the air conditioner's running, if they have air conditioner. In the wintertime, it's when the furnace is running. If they have gas, they find out, why is my bill so high? And they find out, well, your rates went up and you weren't watching it, you switched over, because the individual organizations aren't going to lobby on your behalf. But we'll just have to wait and see for a communication on OPEC. Or Linda, if you give them a jingle as far as the community relations managers, and you've got their names and they're listed in the document that's in your
Yes, I've
packet
spoken
too,
to them
because they did
before.
put another name down there that I didn't
notice the other name.
recognize. Caitlin Albright, you've probably talked with before, but they had a Courtney Fry or Freyhoff. That's new.
I don't know how to say her last name. We've talked to her before.
Okay.
She came in with Caitlin for the Green Ribbon Award,
Oh, she was here? Okay.
and there was another gentleman with her too.
Yeah, that was, and it was Hispanic name. I'm going to forget his name now.
Was it Jose Delgado?
Yes, Jose Delgado. And I think he's still with them.
I have a business card. He sent in a Christmas card.
Okay.
So he must
Who
be.
was the guy that you spoke to before?
Well, there's Jose, there's the gentleman Charles, who's just retiring from there, and he's been here, and he's usually down at the OTA.
Tall guy.
Yeah, he was a tall guy. Chuck Kuiper's the executive director. He'll be down there at the
Kuiper's the one I
OTA.
remember.
Yeah, he's still there. I'm going to forget the gentleman that was there before him, but they'll have their booth down at the Ohio Township Association also. But if you just give them a jingle and maybe try to get some information on the NEC grant, because...
Yeah, I've been watching the website too and watching my email.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. All right, we typically handle the Phase 2 stormwater on the second meeting of the month, but we've got a couple of items here to address. The first is is the next round for the stormwater grant from Lorraine County Stormwater District. I don't know why, but they've changed the date from the end of March to the end of January that these grant requests are due. Well, January 31st is coming up in a hurry. I've sent a document to Pete Zawick requesting an estimate, and if you look in your packet, there's a prepared resolution here, and I did attach a roughed-in application right now. It's not complete. But if you go to the pictorial, David, I should have given this to Georgiana ahead of time. Here, it's a prepared resolution, looks like this.
Yeah,
There we go. I should have given this so she can see it. If you look in here, and it's only in black and white, so you're not going to see the arrows real good, but you can see our 2022 project, and here we're still waiting on getting the easements completed, and there's one there in the Doylick Nature Preserve. They tend to be away for the winter, but I know they were coming up here within the next few months, and their legal representative has indicated to Don Romankak that he'll organize a meeting so we can get that final easement done. So that would take care of, if you look to the left of this document, going from the Lakeshore Railway heading to the northwest and continuing on under the Norfolk Southern Railroad all the way up the Middle Ridge. So that would all be cleared, and you've seen in the last application there were multiple snags and log jams in there. That's also an area that has beaver in it that, you know, do build their huts and whatnot and jam it up. But the next portion, when we went with the ride-along with Don and Pete, would be going from, if you look to the right of this document, beginning at the Lakeshore Railway, heading upstream, heading to the southeast now, as you see that running behind the backyards of the properties there along Stang, and where it would cross over Stang, that's right at John Creek's property there. And so that is approximately 2,000 feet. But then if you continue and it kind of turns around, going more directly south, is there's another 2,400 feet of that bat house ditch going upstream, and it's off the paper here, but all the way up to the turnpike. And so what I'd hope is that I've requested the estimate for this, both with the 2,400 project versus the full 4,400 linear feet of that bat house ditch being cleared, because we need that estimate in the engineer's report to submit with the grant request. So it's, I don't know which direction this is going to go. In the last request, I know that Pete Zawick, who is from the county engineer's office, typically does these estimates, and he had indicated in the last one, since we weren't reprofiling the ditch, to just let the stormwater district give a reasonable estimate based on multiple other projects they had on a linear foot basis, and that's what was done. So what I've done on here is I've kind of followed the same thing, and we can't commit to these numbers till we get something from the engineer's office. But I put together this resolution. I'm going to make this motion. All the whereas is just explain the history and all the different parts we're doing in phases between the Angle and Bat House ditch, which then merge to try and get this cleaned. And as the county engineers recommended, we started upstream in Amherst Township. We're working our way to the south. This begins out at the Lorraine County Airport. So I'm going to make the motion to bring to the floor that the Amherst Township Road Superintendent, Kevin Smarsh, and the trustee responsible for stormwater management, Neil Lynch, are authorized to request financial assistance from Lorraine County Stormwater District for the 2023 Bat House Ditch Restoration Project at a total estimated project cost of $100,000 with an estimated grant funding of $80,000, and the balance being provided by Amherst Township in the form of 20% cash and in-kind labor, equipment, and materials. A detailed cost estimate was not available at the time of this resolution was considered, but will be provided by Lorraine County Stormwater District and engineer prior to submitting an application for Lorraine County Stormwater District financial assistance. Section 2, the Amherst Township Chairperson, trustee assigned responsibility for stormwater management, or the Township Road Superintendent is authorized to sign the attached application for Lorraine County Stormwater District financial assistance documentation and any other documentation required by Lorraine County Stormwater District. The rest is all boilerplate, but I just want to make that motion to bring it to the floor.
I will second.
Okay, and now it's open for discussion.
This is from pretty much Stang Road north, but it may include from Stang Road to the Turnpike, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and it all depends what we get back in estimates, how it's presented to us. Hopefully they show it in sections, and then we'll go out for bids on that. But yeah, we're not committing to this, David, but I wanted to put in something roughly on the financials there. And so that's based off of the last project we did, which we haven't done yet, but we got the bids in, or the estimates on. Okay? All right, with no other discussion, if roll call, Chris?
Lynch?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes. That was motion.
1/4/20.
1/4/23. And Chris, if I can have a certified copy of that too, if you can just, that can be scanned and sent to me then. Okay, the second item that deals with stormwater is Matt Arnold, the operations manager of Lorraine County Stormwater District, sent a checklist to the township for the annual report. If you recall, it's been I don't recall how many years it's been now that the smaller townships and communities that are required to comply with the EPA's stormwater management requirements, small municipal storm sewer systems, joined with the county. So now we just do one report instead of each community doing their own report. But we're still responsible for turning the data in. Kevin got this checklist completed, turned in. He did send me a copy. I didn't print the copy prior to this meeting, but you've got the document here where Matt Arnold had requested, but Kevin's already got this done. And Linda, I forwarded a copy from Kevin to you, so you'd have a copy for your records also. I don't recall if I included everybody on that or not. I just don't remember. But I think you sent it yesterday, was it, Kevin? Yesterday or the day before? It had to be yesterday, Monday. Couldn't have been the day before, so probably yesterday you sent it out. But Kevin's got that completed. So now we'll move on to the complaints. We know that first one, that's going to be the tough one that's on hold since that's dealing with ODOT and the state. Sandstone, I think I've mentioned that before, David. During construction, there's going to be some of these complaints, and we'll just try and address them as we can. Sam, I don't know, the shed and the driveway, I think you're just waiting to issue a permit so he can get things.
Yeah, he's moved it already. He just has to pay for a permit.
Okay. So just keep that open.
Yeah, for now.
Next one is still a complaint on sandstone. There won't be any more grinding of trees, and it's obviously with the wet ground, there's no dust right now either. Okay, the next one, this is one, Sam, I think you're going to have to look at. It's Mr. Dempsey up on Middle Ridge, and he issued a complaint on 12/12, which you would have previously received a copy of, the concern with the number of vehicles and diesel fumes and material storage. he sent another one into the township that's dated 12/28, and you've got a copy in your packet there. Too many trucks, large commercial dump trucks, and large trailers for hauling heavy equipment, not lawn mowers. I believe, is that a conditional use situation right
That
now?
was a variance, I believe.
No, it's a conditional use.
Is it a conditional use? Okay, okay.
Okay, well, you'll just have to look at that, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
already
assume
was
these are
gonna
all assigned to you, and I'm just going to put the complaint from 12/28, 12/22 as combined.
Yeah, he's going to come in with one every week. He said he would. This is a Corin, how do I say his name?
Yeah, Corondo.
Yeah, I'm going to start taking pictures and building a folder, and we're probably going to send him a letter. Maybe it needs to be revisited by the BZA.
Okay.
So we're on top of it.
Okay. And that's where that section 519.14D applies.
Okay.
Okay, there's also in your packet a complaint from Mr. Nardelli on Hidden Glen Drive, and I don't know if you want to get into this, or, I mean, it's, and this is where, Kevin, I don't know if it'd be you or Sam, they might want to let Mr. Nardelli know, do you want us to contact your neighbor for a neighbor spat between snow blowers? I mean, I don't know if he expects this. There's nothing we can do on this. We have no authority. You know, and you're probably not even salting that area of the road. I realize stone can be thrown over, but he talks about salt, being concerned with it killing his grass. But if you're not salting the road, it's not salt from our trucks.
Salt ain't killing no grass.
Yeah, well,
Roadside mowing the 1st of April after a major snowstorm in March. Doesn't kill it like that.
and all the field mice running out from their huts.
We got a retention basin that's growing in March, and salt gets straight to it. At any rate, I'll talk to this gentleman.
Yeah,
I'll
because,
have a conversation with him, and I'll go from there.
okay, because, and let them know, we really have no authority on this. Okay, so he'll have to decide what he wants to do from there. All right, thanks, Kevin. Now, obviously, we don't want somebody blowing their snow on the road.
I know, and I've stopped and talked to many people, and as a matter of fact, it's on Stone Valley. It seems like they're kind of regular for doing that. And, oh, sorry, you drive by, you look in your mirrors, right back out in the road. You know, it's,
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be the same as the people that park when there's either vehicles out there and there's major storm events. It's always the same ones.
yes,
And they
absolutely.
don't realize that they're getting free plowing for their parking spot. All they gotta do is move their car.
Okay, all right, this next one, and Sam, I'm gonna assign this to you, but this is a complaint indicating
1968
that,
one?
Yeah.
54 years ago, a permit was not issued. And I'm just going to say, with the length of this, the only thing you can do if you'd like is just let them know we're not going to do anything on this. We certainly aren't searching records. Both of these individuals these homes have transferred over in that time. The original owners are no longer there. So both of them knew what they were buying at the time they bought it. One of them's lived there longer than the other, but both of them long enough to know there's been no complaint about it. They knew what they bought into. We certainly aren't doing anything on this, so, you know, it's, all I can do is acknowledge we received the complaint, but let them know we're not
That's why-
gonna do anything with this.
That's why I accepted it, but yeah,
Yeah, you have to accept it, but
yeah.
I just,
That's
the only thing is, just let them know we're not researching this. And again, the 54 years have passed, and they both bought those properties knowing what they were buying at the time, and there's been no complaint lodged in all the time they've been there. So, you know, I mean, we can all guess why that came in, but we're certainly not going to spend a whole lot of resources on it.
zoning changed since then, too.
Well, yeah.
It may
so-
have been legal at the time.
It may have been, we know we had zoning then, but you're
How do we
right.
know there wasn't a permit pulled?
Well, yeah, how do you
And how do
know?
we know there wasn't a variance granted, perhaps?
Who wants to go digging through all those old
I
records?
know right where boxes of stuff are, I can't guarantee.
Well, how
This
would
is
he
in there,
even
but-
know? That's what I don't understand. How would he know?
He wouldn't.
Again,
He wasn't here.
we're not going to
Okay.
research. 54 years have passed.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go through that, and I don't know how you would do it, because all someone has to do is have their attorney write a letter and take it to court. I mean, you've got statute of limitations on very serious crimes. I would assume there's one on
Right.
somebody putting an addition onto the rear of a home. All right, we'll move on to the other items that are assigned specific responsibility. David, do you have any items you wish to update us on?
I would just like to let you know from the policy committee, I still need to be reappointed. I did, to that for 2023 by the county association. However, I did attend the meeting today. I do want to let you know that several things. One, they're going to do an ag tire collection this year. And of their tire sites, the Grafton sites are closing. It's pretty much closed now. The Lorraine tire site, they're moving to a company called NEMS on Iowa Avenue. And that leaves the other place for dropping tires, the Elyria location. That'll be the primary location then. The county is going to take over Retrack in 2023. About that. They have a new consulting firm.
Well, hang on, what do you mean they're going to take over, retract?
They will put the information into Retrack. So
Okay.
we won't have to.
Okay,
They have a new consultant. The company's name is RRS, I think it's Resource Recovery Systems. And you mentioned the one fella from NOPEC, Charles, I think the last name began with an R.
Mhm.
He introduced himself to me today. He's working for RRS.
oh,
They mentioned Amherst Township and remembering coming out to Amherst Township. But you know that, so small world. And there is one lady who's working for RRS who was with GT Environmental. So, small world,
yeah.
just to let you know that, that's interesting. Okay, that's the gossip that I have. And of course, the solid waste district won't be doing the community incentive grants next year.
Right, the documentation there, David, is in your packet. I
Yeah.
can put that with this section.
I'm not sure if I brought that up before, that's why I'm bringing it up again now, but I know I've spoken before on it, but I don't know if I've brought it up at one of our
You
meetings.
want to know if the letter's dated December 22nd?
Yes,
So you
yes.
put enough.
Says it will return, and it did. We submitted our completion report, and according to Ms. Kish over here, we received the check today.
That's what I wanted to hope, because this letter from them also indicated there was no guarantee you were going to get your money for
They
2022.
did it to me today.
Well, David mentioned
Good.
today, there's 2 outstanding reports, but if you applied, you get the completion report in, you'll get your money.
Well, the good news is they're taking over Retrack, because I was going to ask, why would we spend time providing that information if we
it
had no
doesn't
funding?
Give us anything. It's more of an FYI thing than it is anything else. And even that, it's only the totes, the curbside.
Let me ask you another question. Previous Board of Commissioners required that we put their insignias on our newsletters because they're funded by solid waste money. Do we have to do that anymore?
Of course not, because you're not funded by solid waste money.
That's what I want to know. There's no okay. I mean, we're not going to,
That was only because of solid waste money.
yes, it just makes it easier in editing the newsletter now. We don't have to leave room for something. that is just free publicity. But, well, hopefully this changes in time, but it's understandable. Okay, I guess, is that it then, David?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I guess the only updates I'd have is, the railroad quiet zone is, there was just one more email communication put out. I didn't present it here. It was just a resident that's been very interested in this project, also helped to spearhead a lot of it, wanting some more tickling of the Norfolk Southern Federal Railway Administration, if you will, but since the letter was written to the mayor of Amherst, who will receive the notice back from the FRA and Norfolk Southern regarding the railroad quiet zone, I wasn't going to get involved this time. In my last communication with a consultant, I said I would wait till after mid-January to follow up with him again. So I don't want to be calling him. I told him mid-January. I'm going to wait till mid-January, since we obviously have an interest in our community here. You know, we've been receiving, I'm sure some others have probably received calls, when is it going to stop? But it's outside our control at this point in time. The consultant, I think I reported before, he's contacted Norfolk Southern down in Georgia, which is his contact, and they've run for cover, saying they received an inordinate number of requests for quiet zones across the U.S., and that ours will be addressed eventually, and we do expect it to be approved. But come mid-January, I'll make an inquiry. That doesn't mean I'll get any update in dealing with the railroad. All I can do is make sure the consultant contacts Norfolk Southern and also the FRA to see if they can get a status update. The final update is on the tax incremental financing, predominantly for the roadway for the sandstone project. This is the county tax incremental financing. I really don't have any update here. I do know that Amherst Exempted Schools sent in their request and markup of the TIF agreement, and I think I've reported before, and we're pretty much the township's in agreement with the schools. We do not want this to exceed 20 years in terms of the township and the schools giving up the additional tax revenues they would see from that development beyond that time. Again, a portion, and it would be, the max would be 20% of the different options the county was presenting. Realize it would still be written as a 30-year TIF, but after the 21st year on to the 30th year would only be the county funding that they would give up. And it's up to them as far as the percentage. So as it stands right now, we're looking at the 20% type TIF, but I don't know what the final is going to come out here. This is going to be a vote that this board will have to take and the school board will take. I've already, in discussions with Amherst School Superintendent, indicated township's not going to take any action until after the schools take action. And some of that is because if you really look at it, the majority of property taxes is schools. And so they've got the most skin in the game. So I think it's just appropriate we follow what their lead is on this. So I don't have any other new business. Is there anything else, David?
I have nothing else to bring before the board.
I do want to mention I will not be available for our next regular meeting. Would be scheduled on Tuesday, January 24th, and that's when I'm leaving to go to the OTA Winter Conference in Columbus, so I will not be at that meeting. So our choice is either you chair that meeting, David, or we can reschedule it if you want to do that.
No problem. Just
Okay.
We'll have the meeting unless
Okay.
we have trouble getting a quorum,
Okay.
then we would have to reschedule.
As long as
Right
you're
now
aware
it's
that-
on. Right now it's tentatively on.
Right. As long as you're aware, you'll be chairing that meeting. And I know Georgianne's already talked with Linda about taping the meeting. Okay? All right, is there any need for an executive session?
I have no need.
Okay, is there anything else anyone has to bring before the board? All right, then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Lynch?
Yes.
Burek?
Yes.